Hi, this is Jeannie, and today I'm going to make a sunflower garland. I saw a similar garland in the Raz showroom, and it was just made with green garland and sunflower, so I wanted to try it. So I got this garland came from Trendy Tree. All the supplies came from Trendy Tree, and this is a sunflower bush that has 7 big blooms, and the number is 30294 GDYW, and it's 1095. I have 2 there, but I only used 1. And then I have this pick with 2 sunflowers on it, and it is 63045 SP28, and it's 1075. Now I did use 3 of those. The garland was SG26142-063. It's a 60-inch eucalyptus garland with some, it's got some icy leaves, and at first I thought, well, it's really more of a Christmas garland, but once I got it finished, the icy leaves really didn't show. It's kind of a seeded garland, and it's $25.99. The first thing that I did was, it's about 60 inches in length, and the first thing I did was kind of find the center point. My plan is to hang the garland over an arched window in my office, so I wanted to find my center point, so I just marked that with a chenille stem. And then I set about fluffing the garland out. Now when you order something online from Trendy Tree or anybody else, it's going to come compressed. It's going to be in a plastic bag like it comes from China or wherever it comes from. So the first thing you want to do is fluff out all those pieces. They're all wired, and you can, move them and manipulate them, and you want to pull some, out to each side, and you want to pull some straight up, from the center. So just work all the way down the length of the garland, fluffing it out. And you can see how much difference it's already beginning to make. And this garland has a different assorted greenery. It's eucalyptus and some kind of other little green stuff there, and then the little seeded berry like things, and like I say, some of the leaves have a little of that icy looking glitter on them. It doesn't take but just a minute to fluff it out before you get started, and it'll just make it a lot easier. But you can see as you fluff it out, the width of it is significantly larger than the way it looks in the picture. Now I'm not going to use any hot glue on this garland because, of course, I'm making it for myself, but what I'm going to do today is use zip ties. I'm going to tie the extra pieces in with zip ties, and that way, if I want to take it apart later and use the sunflowers for something else, I can. So this is a big sunflower bush. It's about 22 inches, and those blooms are probably 4 or 5 inches in width. There's 7 blooms on the bush, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the blooms off the bush using a stem cutter. Now, we have the stem cutters at Trendy Tree when we have them in stock. I'm not sure right now if they're in stock or not, but it's called the Easy Flower Bush Cutter, I think. But I'm just cutting those off. I love the leaves on this sunflower bush. They're kind of a light green, and they're a little bit variegated. They're shaded with got a little bit of yellow in them, I guess, and they're a little bit fuzzy like. This was messy to make. I didn't really notice how messy it was until I took the garland off my board, and it just a lot of stuff comes off while you're working on it. But anyway, I like to take, some of the stems have 1 set of leaves and some have more than 1. So I would take the bottom set of leaves and kind of push them up so you can take full advantage of all the leaves that are on the sunflowers, because they really are pretty. Now, sometimes you run across a leaf that you just can't push up, and that's okay. And you can always, as you're working the sunflowers into the garland. You can shorten the stems if you need to. I really didn't pay that much attention to how long I cut the stems. And I really didn't know when I started if it would take one bush of the sunflowers or more than one. So I brought out two just in case, but I only cut one up, and it turned out that I only used one. So what I'm doing here is just kind of finding my placement before I attach anything, just kind of eyeballing, how you want the sunflowers to look to get an idea of about where you want to place them. And they don't, it's not perfect. I mean, just, but you kind of need to kind of start with a plan. They can, you can move them around, easy enough, but I just kind of stuck them in here and there to kind of get an idea of how many it was going to take and if I was going to have enough and so forth. So I put the bulk of them kind of in the center, and then I put, one down each side, because I have those other picks that have a couple of sunflowers in them that are a little bit smaller. So I was going to use those smaller ones to kind of come on down the sides of the garland. These picks are just gorgeous. They're about 28 inches, and they have two sunflowers and some white flowers and some little berries and just some assorted greenery, and they're just really pretty. I was going to separate those limbs, and then I realized I could just pull the stems off. So I just separated each spray into, I don't know, 3 or 4 pieces there. Now I just separated 2 in the video here, but I did go ahead and use the third one too at the end. I'm sorry, every time I use that cutter it jars my table a little bit and kind of makes my camera shake. I love sunflowers. They're just so pretty all summer long, but they really speak fall to me too. So they're just pretty anytime you can get them. We have a wide selection of sunflower pieces at Trendy Tree, and we have some in several different colors. We've got beige and kind of a rust red, and some that are more yellow. The color, the skew on this one is actually gold yellow. So they're a real rich yellow gold. So I'm just going to start kind of in the center of the garland and then work down both sides. Trying to keep it, somewhat even, but like I say, it's not, it's not matched from side to side. And then these are really small zip ties. They're really a little hard for me to manage with my older eyes and older hands, but it's what I had. I didn't have any larger on my craft table, so that's what I had to use. So you secure that zip tie, and sometimes when they're really hard for you to hold and pull tight, you can use something like a needle nose pliers and tighten that up as you need to, and then clip it off with wire cutters. You don't want to use your scissors, you want to use wire cutters, and then just kind of shape your sunflower. And see, right off the bat, I decided I had this stem too long, so I had to clip that, and I shortened the stem just a little bit. And you'll find that some of your stems you may want to secure in two places to keep them from, flopping out too far or something like that. So I just re-secured that. I need to make a note to go pick up some more zip ties. But this way, I can take this apart and reuse those sunflowers in something else. Or before Christmas, I may take the sunflowers off and use that same garland and use some Christmas flowers or ornaments or something like that. I'll just speed this up and you can watch the rest of it. I'm just working all the way down the garland. And sometimes you'll have to move the limbs out of the way to secure your sunflower straight to the base garland and not tie down around your eucalyptus branches or anything. And then just you can move them back in place. Of course, you could use floral wire instead of the zip ties. I wouldn't use chenille stems because they probably would show. I think zip ties work the best though, because sometimes with floral wires, your stem will kind of twist around and it may not hold in the position you want it to hold in. The sunflowers on the pig are a little shade lighter and a little bit smaller. So I use them kind of down the sides of the garland. I'm just getting it kind of an ideal placement for the extra greenery. I'll zip tie all those pieces in. You want to give the garland a good shake when you get done to make sure that you secured everything well. Oh, and sometimes, a flower head will come off. That happens. When it does, you can just stick it back on the stem. Sometimes that will hold okay, but most of the time what I do is put a little dab of hot glue on that, because if it come off once, it's liable to fall off again. I think I fixed that one, once I actually got it up. It fell off again, and then I heated up my hot glue gun and put a little hot glue on it. I have a hot glue gun that's battery operated and it's rechargeable, and I really like that, because my old hot glue gun, it always, the cord hanging off, it just was so unhandy. It just, it was a drag on it every time I tried to use it. It was just seemed to always be getting in the way. So I found this really neat rechargeable hot glue gun at Harbor Freight. I can't remember the name of it, but I like it. It really works well. It has a battery pack that you just pull off and charge, and then slide it back on your gun, and it heats up quick. And I really like it. Plus, you can take your hot glue gun and you can walk away from your craft table. You don't have to. Like this one, I had already put the garland up on the window and the flower fell off, so I didn't have to take the garland down to go fix it. I just brought my hot glue gun into my office and I fixed it like that. Seems like everything we use nowadays is going to rechargeable. I bought a rechargeable lamp for my back porch. I had moved my furniture around on the back porch, and I had a table between two chairs, and there's no outlet. I don't know, when we built our house, why I didn't think about more outlets on my back porch. There's 3 out there, but 2 are along the countertop, the outdoor kitchen, and then 1 is over by the fireplace. So I don't have any way to, really plug in a lamp good. So I found a rechargeable lamp on Wayfair, and my husband is like, "You're never going to find a lamp that's going to give off enough light that's rechargeable that you want to use." So I thought, well, I was going to try it anyway. So it's just really a really plain, simple. It's like a cylinder, and you just touch it, and the light comes on, and it's got a charging cord. So I charged it in the house and then took it outside, and I've used it like 4 nights now on that initial charge. So I think I'm going to be satisfied with it. Plus, it gives off enough light by the chair that you could actually read. I sit there with my iPad or laptop and use it. So far it's working out good. And you have to do a lot of reshaping and fluffing. You can do it on your table. I moved it to a board and looked at it, and then I still did some reshaping after I hung it up too. So that's that third pick. I went ahead and did use the 3 picks. Only the 1 sunflower bush, but I did use 3 of the picks. So I just fill those in here and there. You know, I tried to kind of, if I put one piece on one side, I kind of did the equivalent to the other side to, you know, to try to keep it things, you know, fairly even. It doesn't have to be exact. And you can see my sunflowers are kind of random. You know, they're not perfect, but they're not supposed to be. So it's, you know, it's what you like. If that's not full enough, you know, to your satisfaction, you can add in more greenery. I think it's got enough sunflowers, but you know, if you wanted to add in some more fullness with some greenery or even some small white or yellow flowers, you could do that. I didn't want it to be too, you know, overpowering. You know, the image that I looked at, and I'll attach that in the blog post so you can see what my inspiration was it was in the Raz showroom, and it was a huge garland over an arched window, and it was really pretty. You may want to move the garland to your workboard or hang it up on a door or something so you can, you know, sometimes it helps to just kind of step away from it, and you can see where, you know, you might need to fill in or move things around a little bit. Of course, you always want to check the back. You want to make sure that there's a bloom that come off, and I just used some hot glue and stuck it back on there. You want to check the back, make sure you don't have anything that's sharp that might, you know, scratch your door, your wall, or wherever you want to put it. Now, I fixed this garland knowing that I wanted to hang it above my window. So I had thought that, you know, if I didn't hang it on my window, I could also use it on my mantle. And I can do the same thing. I may want to I won't take any of the flowers off of it, but I might, you know, shift them around a little bit, you know, to see how they're reshape them, I guess. So there it is on my board. And there it is in my office. I use some little command clips, hooks, one in the center and one on each side. In retrospect, I could have put the clips up a little bit higher, but you know, didn't think about it at the time. Thanks for watching. Visit us at trendytree.com, and I hope you'll follow my personal blog, jeanniepence.com. Thank you.